Welcome back to the final of our 3 mini lectures in this introductory series. So far, we have explored the why, the need to escape the outsourced mind, and the what, the specific elements of the Primed Adventurous Toolkit. Today, we're going to tackle the how. We're going to walk through the practical process of wiring your mind for adventure. Now, this process begins with what I've called the ignition. You can have all the tools in the world, but they are useless if you cannot create the space to use them. That is why we start with the 2 meta mental models to rule them all: pausing and subject-object rebalancing. Think of these not just as skills, but as the operating system update required to run complex software. Without them, you cannot access the higher level tools in the Primed Adventuring Toolkit. So let's revisit the pause. As I've mentioned before, Rollo May famously said, "Human freedom involves our capacity to pause between stimulus and response." In your daily life, when you encounter a sudden challenge, a difficult email, a disruption to your plans, your brain's first reaction is automatic. It is your socialized mind trying to keep you safe by following all the normal procedures and processes that one may expect of you. The pause stops this download. It creates a defiant stillness. It buys you the critical microseconds needed to switch from a reaction to a reflection. In that brief silence, we perform the shift. We move from "it has me" to "I have it." Let's use a concrete example. And imagine you're terrified of speaking up about a new project idea. Right now, you are subject to that fear. You are the fear. You are looking at the world through its lens. In the pause, you shift. You say, "I have the fear of looking foolish." Now, the fear is an object now. It's on the table in front of you. Because you're no longer merged with that fear, you can choose to use a tool to manage it. You've cleared the field of play for a higher level of thinking. Now, why does this mental effort matter? It matters because it physically changes your biology. Your brain is not a passive hard drive. It's a prediction machine. As a neuroscientist, Jeff Hawkins explains in his 1,000 Brains theory, the neocortex consists of about 150,000 cortical columns. And these columns are designed to build reference frames, physical location-based maps of reality. Intelligence is the ability to use these maps to predict what will happen next and to minimize error. But here's the catch. You cannot download these maps. You cannot ask AI to build them for you. You must build them through your own movement and your own friction, the difficulty that life presents you. When you pause and struggle with a problem, when you engage in what psychologists call germane cognitive load, you are physically wiring these cortical columns. Every time you successfully navigate a vue-jay moment, a situation where you don't know the rules, you build a robust predictive model in your brain that stays with you potentially forever. This is how we move from fragile competence to true expertise. So, now that you have paused, rebalanced, and engaged our brain's architecture, we apply the toolkit. We don't just use one tool at a time. We use a completion complex. This is the integration of multiple mental models to navigate the unknown. So let's walk through a real-world example of an adventurer trying to launch a new community initiative. First, they use their environmental reading Instead of rushing in blindly, they pause and they scan. They look at the ecological environment for energy. That's available energy or momentum that they can hitch a ride on. And they ask, who already has the resources here? What wave can I catch? They also scan the selective environment for threats. What rules of the game might kill this project? They can only do this objectively because they use the subject-object rebalancing to step back from their own ego and their own anxiety. Next, they need allies. They use their convening skills. They don't just network or transact. They craft a convening call that speaks to the immediate needs of others. They check for legitimacy, asking, is my idea cognitively legitimate? Does it make sense to these people? If the adventure was still subject to their need for approval, they couldn't listen deeply enough to do this. The rebalancing allows them to focus on the shared goal, not their own insecurity. So, you've paused, you've rebalanced, you've read the environment, you've convened with others, you take action. So what happens next? Usually, something unexpected. Chance intervenes. Maybe the meeting goes wrong. Maybe the funding falls through. The unprimed person panics here. But the prime adventurer, they see this as data. This surprise is a prediction error. It simply means that your internal map didn't match the external territory. You can use this error to update your horizon of expectations. You revise your mental model, and this is the biological cycle of learning. Prediction, error, correction, new structure. This process keeps you in a state of autopoiesis, a fancy word for self-creation. You are continuously rebuilding yourself and your understanding of the world. You are transforming the raw chance of existence into the necessity of your own development. So, let's summarize the cycle of self-negotiated action. It starts with the pause to break this automatic processing of information. It moves to subject-object rebalancing to gain clarity, and it engages the completion complex, tools like environmental reading and convening, to act, and finally, it uses feedback to update your horizon of expectations. So, I want us to return with a reminder of those 3 questions from John Ruskin. You are only educated if you can answer the 3 questions right now. Where are you? Where are you going? And therefore, what must you do? If you can't answer them, don't worry. Being momentarily uneducated is just a motivating factor for the adventure ahead. You have the process now. You know the importance of a pause. You know the placement of the rebalancing between subject and object. The world is complex, but your mind is built for this. Ideally, don't just consume the world, construct it. So, thank you for joining me on this introductory moment in our journey. Go find your pause, and as always, look for adventure everywhere.